Hello class, so we'll be looking at the 7 more practice questions here. So the first question, as you can see where we have an exponential equation. So basically what we have to do is we have to have the bases the same way. We can see that the base would have been 2 here. So if I were to convert this one in the base of 2, then it would have been 2 squared to the second power. This basically means 2 to the fourth power, while the left side is same as 2 to the x squared minus 3x power. Then in this case, that exponent and this exponent has to be equal to each other. So here we get x squared minus 3x equals 4. So as I subtract 4 from both sides, x squared minus 3x minus 4 would have been equal to 0. Now we can solve this one by factoring them. X minus 4 and x plus 1 equal to 0. Then to figure out the values of x, here we get x has to be equal to 4 from the first factor, and from the second factor we will be getting negative 1. And that's how we can do it. Now let's look at the second one for a second. Here we have this original graph, y equals f of x, and I want you to sketch y equals f of x minus 3. See, this implies the horizontal shift. So since we have x minus 3, that means this x has to be greater than this x by 3 to compensate for negative subtraction of 3. So therefore this will move right by 3 units. On the other hand, this is after the calculation we are reducing the value, the results by 1. In other words, we're gonna move the values of y down by 1. So if I were to copy the original graph, this one now has to move to the right by 3 units. 1, 2, 3 units, and we have to go down by 1 unit. How about that? So our red one will be the position of our new function. Notice it moved to the right by 3 units and went down by 1 unit. That's basically what's happening. Alright, let's move on to the next question. I want you to solve this one by completing the square method. So first we will subtract 6x, so x squared minus 6x minus 11 equal to 0. And we're going to add 11 to both sides. X squared minus 6x equals 11. Then of course we have to look at the this coefficient of x divided by 2, which is negative 3. We have to square that, which is equal to adding 9, and I have to do that on both sides. Then on our left side it becomes now x minus 3 squared. On my right side it becomes 20. We can cancel out the square by taking the square root on both sides, then we end up getting x minus 3 must be square root of 20, but don't forget we have a plus or a minus. But what makes square root of 20? Yes, square root of 20 is square root of 2 squared times 5 when you do the factor tree. And since whatever square can come out of the square root, this becomes plus or minus 2 square root of 5. To have the x by itself, we're going to add 3 to both sides. Then we end up getting x equals 3 plus or minus 2 square root of 5. That becomes our answer. Number 4. We are looking for quadratic equation whose sum of the root is 9. But we have to realize the sum must be negative b over a. Now, so once again, if a is equal to 1 and there's no restriction on a from the question, then we get to realize that this becomes 9 equals negative b. This implies that b must be equal to negative 9. Now, since the product is equal to 7, which we know that to be c over a, but once again, if a is equal to 1, then this simplifies into c equals 7. So there it goes. And since we know the coefficients of the quadratic equation that which we are looking at, so our answer would have been x squared minus 9x plus 7 equal to 0. That becomes our answer. Number 5. So I want you to simplify this one. But notice that we have cube root. That means we need a perfect cube to come out of the cube root. Then 125, as we know, is 5 to the third power. X to the fifth power, I can break that into x to the third times x squared. So in that way, x to the third can come out as an x. Y becomes y to the third times y to the third times y to the third times y. That will get me total 10 y's all over z to the third power. Then notice that this can come out. This one can come out. Oops, not that one. This one can come out, not this one. Y to the third, y to the third, y to the third, and z to the third. So our final answer becomes 5 comes out once, x comes out once, and y on the other hand comes out 3 times, all over z comes out once. And then what's left within the cube root? We have x squared, then y is left, and that becomes our answer. Now I want you to figure out the value of a, or values of a, and you can see that it's not factorable. So what we could do is, in fact, using the quadratic formula. So pick this variable a, we called it, is negative b, which is negative 8, plus or minus square root of the b squared, which is negative 8 squared, minus 4, a is 2, c is equal to 1, all over 2 times a, which is equal to 2. Then here we're going to have 8 plus or minus, this becomes 64, and that becomes minus 8 over 4. Then let us simplify this one a bit further. 8 plus or minus square root of, then this becomes 56 over 4. But what makes 56? In fact, when you look at this one, we can divide 56 is 4 times 14, so we get to simplify this one as a plus or minus 2 square root of 14 over 4. Then 2 cancels out from all 3 terms, then we end up getting 4 plus or minus square root of 14 over 2. And that becomes our answer. Now when you want to simplify the fraction with the irrational numbers, we have to look at the bottom one and then make sure we multiply by its conjugate. So bottom one, when you multiply by the FOIL, so we get 1 times 1 equals 1. Here we get minus radical 6, and here we get plus radical 6, and then minus radical 36. Here 2 times 1 becomes 2, and minus 2 times radical 6, 2 radical 6, and negative 3 times 1 becomes minus radical 3, and then the last, it becomes plus square root of 18. Then these two cancels out, as you can see, negative and plus. And 1 minus 6 is on the bottom. On the top, everything is same as it is, except this one can be written as square root of 18, meaning 9 and 2. So we have 2 minus 2 radical 6 minus radical 3 and plus 3 radical 2. And our final answer becomes negative 5 is on the bottom. And we have 2 minus 2 square root of 6 minus square root of 3 and plus 3 square root of 2. And that becomes our answer. Alright, I'll see you later.